For many years, Russia has provided the United States with rocket engines that allowed the Americans to successfully carry out their space programs. The legendary Russian RD-180 propulsion systems and their improved modification RD-181 became real workhorses of NASA, guaranteeing the successful launches of many launch vehicles with various payloads. Recently, however, against the backdrop of well-known geopolitical events, cooperation in this high-tech sphere has been severed at the initiative of the United States. Washington refused further deliveries of Russian rocket engines, putting an end to the long-standing partnership. And now, the niche of a potential buyer of advanced Russian rocket developments has been freed up for China, a power that does not hide its ambitious plans for space exploration. According to knowledgeable sources, Beijing is showing serious interest in the possibility of purchasing RD-181 engines from Russia. If such a deal does take place, it could become a major event that would significantly fuel the Celestial Empire's growing space ambitions. Access to advanced Russian rocket-building technologies, combined with China's impressive industrial potential, could not only accelerate the development of China's space program, but also make it the unqualified leader in the global space race. For Moscow, the potential sale of engines to China will become an important source of funding for the rocket and space industry after the forced breakup of lucrative contracts with the United States. And a close partnership with Beijing in such a high-tech field opens up exciting prospects for the realization of bold joint projects. The prospect of joining the efforts of the two great space powers, of course, cannot but worry the United States. Washington is already sounding the alarm, warning that the possible merger of Russian advanced developments with China's manufacturing capabilities will inevitably lead to undesirable geopolitical shifts that pose serious risks to American interests. Such a reaction can be considered quite expected and natural. Over the years of global dominance, the United States has become accustomed to the role of the world hegemon, dictating the terms of the game to other countries and jealously guarding its technological advantage. Suddenly, the two biggest geopolitical opponents decide to join forces in such a sensitive area for the Americans, despite the pressure from the West. However, there is no reason for the U.S. to be indignant and reproachful. The current situation is only a logical and predictable response of Russia and China to the destructive policy of the Americans themselves, who have put an end to many years of fruitful cooperation in the sphere of rocket construction and space research. Washington's decision to stop unilaterally purchasing Russian rocket engines has left them in a rather difficult position. On the one hand, the U.S.-owned developments in this area have not yet progressed beyond the stage of experiments. On the other hand, the usual proven channel of supply of advanced propulsion systems has been blocked. Now we can only hope for a long-term and extremely expensive process of creating equivalent domestic analogs to Russian developments. Thus, with their decision to abandon Russian engines, the Americans have made a rather serious strategic miscalculation. For many decades, the U.S. had been able to buy advanced Russian technologies and use them freely to implement ambitious space programs. The well-established partnership was beneficial to both sides. However, at a certain point, under the influence of short-term political motives, Washington decided to rudely sever these ties, forgetting about the long experience of pragmatic, mutually beneficial cooperation. And while Russia's forced abandonment of multi-billion-dollar contracts with U.S. partners has resulted in unconditional economic damage, its current potential rapprochement with China in the rocket industry can not only compensate for these losses, but also open up new prospects for development. But the United States, as a result of its own ill-considered steps, has found itself in a situation of voluntary refusal of mutually beneficial cooperation with Russia and access to its advanced developments. It is indicative that even at the stage of preliminary discussion of a possible partnership between Moscow and Beijing in missile technologies in the United States, this is already causing irritation and apprehension. What will happen when the combined scientific, technical, and production potential of the two great powers is supplemented by the synergistic effect of real consolidation of their efforts in advanced areas of high technology? After all, even now their joint capabilities in a number of key areas significantly exceed those of the United States. And in the long term, the Russian-Chinese partnership could lead to a complete change of world leaders in space exploration and other high-tech industries. And while Moscow and Beijing are only cautiously probing the ground for further cooperation, American analysts are seriously concerned about the reenactor effect that could arise if Russia and China combine their scientific and technological resources against a common geopolitical opponent, the United States. I would like to urge our American partners to come to their senses and not to follow short-term political ambitions. Let us better focus on developing mutually beneficial pragmatic cooperation among all the leading space powers for the benefit of all mankind. After all, it is space exploration and related high technologies that will define the face of the 21st century and ensure scientific and technological progress that will have a beneficial effect on the quality of life of all Earthlings. Political ambitions and the destructive solutions they dictate must be set aside. Instead, we should firmly embark on the path of intelligent pooling of intellectual, industrial, and financial resources in the framework of major international projects. Only in this way can we achieve maximum efficiency and realize the most ambitious visions in the exploration and development of outer space. For example, the high costs and high risks of interplanetary manned expeditions make them virtually impossible to accomplish alone, even for the most developed countries. However, joining efforts will allow to create the necessary groundwork in all key technological areas and distribute the financial burden between partners. Just imagine a joint international manned mission to Mars with the participation of specialists from Russia, the United States, China, Europe, and other countries. What colossal experience, new knowledge, and technologies it would give to all mankind. Space should not be an arena for yet another geopolitical race with gigantic unjustified expenditures. This is an area where joining efforts is absolutely logical and necessary. The same applies to other promising areas of space exploration: construction of manned bases and stations on the moon, creation of mining and production systems on other planets, development of space tourism, etc. All these ambitious projects of the future require the consolidation of financial, intellectual, and industrial resources of all interested countries. Let us join forces and focus on the main thing: the development of advanced technologies necessary for the successful exploration and development of outer space. Within the framework of such constructive international cooperation as rocket propulsion, upper stages, life support systems, power plants, and much more will receive a powerful synergistic impetus. So far, we are treading on the ground separately, fearing competition and loss of leadership in some segments of high technology. But if we pool our resources and begin to cooperate fully, this will open up completely new, fantastic prospects for all mankind. The frontiers of space exploration will become much wider, and the speed of technological progress will increase many times over. In conclusion, I would like to thank everyone once again for watching and paying attention. Leave likes, subscribe to the channel, and share this video if you share the ideas voiced. I wish everyone a peaceful sky above their heads, good health and success in all endeavors.